Next, we have Sarat Kongara from Leapzen, one of our leading sponsors. Sarat Kongara has been a software professional and a long-time Mac developer, and he has been building applications on the Mac when most people thought that Apple was a fruit. He declined an offer from Microsoft after graduating from college to work for a startup in Boston, and apart from a few brief stints at Apple and Bank of America, he spent most of his time working for startups in the USA and India. He is passionate about technology and always on the lookout for programming languages and tools that help increase productivity. Sarat is a pragmatic entrepreneur interested in the lean startup, customer development and growth hacking. Just the right topics for the day. And here he is to talk about lazy is good. Sounds interesting? Lazy is good by Sarat Kongara.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. It's hard to match up after a talk like that. I don't know about you, but I was just sitting there and saying, all is well, all is well, all is well. The other problem going after a talk like this is you could barely listen to it. I was just sitting there. The only thing I remember is Q1 2016, I need to buy some stock. Everything else was, ooh. First time on stage. Let's see how this works. Okay. Oops. So just a quick survey. How many of you are software developers? Okay. How many of you are not software developers? Interesting. So kind of 20% haven't raised their hands. So you're not software developers and you're not software developers. I don't know about you, but I think you're lazy. But then lazy is good. In fact, I would argue that lazy is a virtue. Laziness is a virtue. People who are lazy would actually get more stuff done longer. In the long term, they get more stuff done. This is not just me saying. If you actually... Okay. By the way, I'm Sarat Kongara. I'm a lazy programmer. So Larry Wall, the creator of the Perl programming language, says the 3 good virtues of a programmer are laziness, impatience, and hubris. So by laziness, what he means is people who deny doing laborious work. People who are lazy would actually look at laborious things and try to automate them, come up with innovative ways of making it faster. Impatient is you look at things which you expect a computer to do, and then, why am I doing this? This should be done by a computer, or even better. It should have guessed this for me. Hubris is kind of excessive pride. It talks about kind of owning up the software that you build. You own it up, so you actually maintain it. It's not just you build something and throw it away. I would add one more, which is being dumb. Being dumb is not saying that you know answers to everything. What you build is the best thing. But this childlike thing of being curious and questioning everything, kind of starting from first principles, what Elon Musk talks about. So this is all good. So the subtle difference I want to point out in my talk about lazy is good is the usual laziness that we associate with people not doing work versus the laziness that I'm talking about is working smart versus working hard. It's a choice that you have to make. So given that choice, I think I would actually take working smart. Did I do something? So this is all nice. Good talk. Does it really work? So I actually started applying this in my life. So the last couple of years I've been trying out these principles. I just wanted to share my story and how this works. So a couple years ago, I was working in a project called Transformation. So it's a mechanical design automation of a transformer. I don't want to scare you, but the thing this works is you have a software application, takes the user through a bunch of screens where you give some input, figures out the business logic, launches your CAD application, Creo, CATIA, Inventor, SolidWorks, whatever you have, creates 3D models and 2D drawings. So for transformer, you can assume thousands of parts. What traditionally takes maybe 3-4 months, would be done in half an hour. Okay, so if you think about it, the product is actually tackling the laziness aspect. You don't want to do manual designs every time a new requirement comes. You automate the whole thing. So I was tasked with building this. So what did I do to build the software for this? I took a lazy approach. So being lazy, let's apply being lazy to it. A lot of ideas in this slide would resonate with people who actually know who Uncle Bob is. So first thing we did is what is called as domain-driven design. The idea being model your software based on the domain, capture the concepts in the domain and model them in software. So biggest advantage you have with this is, so for example, you're doing object-oriented design, all your objects, classes, methods, names would actually be the ones that you have in the domain. So you would have a ubiquitous language. So what your customer talks, your business analyst talks, your developer talks, your QA person talks, a word means the same thing. There is no translation that needs to be done. So lazy, less work to do. We use an architecture called hexagonal architecture. Fundamentally, what it does is it looks at your software, figures out things which might vary in the future, and move them as far out of the system. So you could plug it in. Tomorrow you want to change your database, you don't have to touch 20 files. So all you're kind of decoupling from dependencies. The core of your app sits inside. All things that you depend on are actually kind of pushed to the outside. Clean code. Programs are written for people to read and incidentally for compilers to compile. In a life of a program, you read it more often than you write. So which means you need to be optimized for writing. So clean code talks about how you name your methods, writing small things, methods and classes that do one thing and one thing really well. So I am buying this laziness with this because I read more often than I write. I better optimize for it. So that's what clean code does. Object-oriented design, focusing more on the message passing. Test-driven development and refactoring. This, I think, is heart of software development. How many of you like doing manual testing? Right? So test-driven development is one that kind of completely cuts. In fact, as Uncle Bob says, QA should find no bugs. So that's the laziness approach. Write your tests. You don't have to do manual testing. Refactoring is changing your code. So any new requirement comes, I'm touching 5 files to make a change. You got to pause. Something wrong. One requirement change, one file, maybe a few lines change. Anything more, your software is not structured to take this change. That's not a problem. Because as they say in life, death and taxes are only 2 things guaranteed. In software, there's only one thing that's guaranteed. That's change. So you embrace change. Next time a change comes, you see yourself changing a lot of stuff, time to refactor. Do the refactoring and do that. So okay, so this is all the software high talk. But does it really work? It worked awesome for us. So every time there's a bug, there's only one test that used to fail. There's only one line that we had to change. So everything was happy in the land of software development. Then something happened. So we needed to scale. We needed more programmers. So I have a requirement. So like most small companies, we don't have a dedicated talent acquisition team. All I had is one person who takes care of HR, who also helps with recruitment. So I pass on the requirement saying, can you find me more Ruby developers? Can I get a JD? And I'm like, okay. Can you go to Monster, Naukri, search for Ruby developer? You'll probably find one. So we just get one and post it. So good thing with job boards is you get a ton of resumes, but that's where the problem starts. So I had these 300 resumes, and the person says, I have 300 resumes. So could you tell me which 50 of them I should call for a telephonic interview? Okay. Look through those resumes and see if they have mentioned maybe TDD, refactoring, design patterns. That way I know what they're talking about. I don't know about her, but if I was given the task, 5 minutes later I'll be falling asleep. Right? Resumes. I mean, I don't format my resume. Imagine reading somebody else's resume. They all come in all shapes and forms. 2 pages, 3 pages. Somebody puts education on the last page. Right? Doesn't work. So what they do? After third one, this name looks interesting. Oh, he's from my town. Oh, this is my college. Whatever. Objectivity out the window. It's all subjective. So from 300, say you get to 50 or 100. And this, she comes back to me and says, I think these 100 fit the bill. Can you tell me which 50 I have to call? I have a meeting to do, a design, a Scrum retrospective, blah, blah, blah. I stuff the resumes outside, somewhere else, out of my sight. A week later, I'm still working. I'm like, oh man, I'm the one who needs the programmer. So bite the bullet, get the resumes out, start looking through them. I could probably do a decent, fairly job because I kind of know the technology. So I get 30, 40 of them. But the problem is then scheduling the interviews. I am the bottleneck here. I am the person who is interviewing, so everybody has to work to my schedule. That doesn't work. But long story short, you see this whole problem of taking through resume screening, telephonic screening, talking to them on the phone, finding those 10 people, calling them for a face-to-face, where the real stuff happens, takes a lot of time and effort. Lot of time and effort. Not lazy. Okay? So this is still in 1997. And here are the problems. Takes 21 to 48 days on average to find somebody good, recruit them. Resume screening, 6 seconds. I like his name. Okay, this side. Hire, no hire decision. After all this manual process, where you get to the meat, where the real value comes of doing face-to-face interviews, you spend 5 minutes. And then probably both parties would regret later. Oh, I joined this company, not good. Or, oh, I am unfortunately hired. And the worst part, as an entrepreneur, I'll tell you, or anybody, firing or letting go somebody is the hardest thing you have to do in your life. So we are in 2015, the era of self-driving cars and Hyperloop. And that recruitment is still stuck in 1997. So the best thing that happened to recruitment since the internet came are job boards. After that, nothing much, no new innovation. So let's be lazy again. So we said, okay, let's take this whole laziness approach and try to apply for this. So there are a lot of technology advances that has happened in the last. So these things on here are not rocket science. They are everyday science. Document parsing, semantic analysis, natural language processing. A lot of people use them. You have speech synthesis, text-to-speech, voice recognition, telephony platforms, IVR, machine learning. Can you combine all these and build a solution which kind of automates all this process, so leaves you just the 20% where you get to talk to people face-to-face? That's one, but we also wanted it to be 10x better. So if you believe, the story goes that Steve Jobs actually had a one-line requirement for an iPod. However large my collection volume of songs are, in 3 clicks I need to get to my song. So if one-liners work so well, we said let's make a one-line requirement for our project. So all it says is, as a customer, you give me your requirements and give me your availability information, what times and days of the week you're available for an interview. And the system should just schedule automatically the relevant people for you. That's it. So you give the requirements, your availability, and then you, well, do nothing. That's the whole idea. So if you have a system like this, wouldn't it be nice? Okay. So this is all good, but does it work? So we took the lazy elements, we built a solution, and then we called it LeapZen. So we glad to announce officially launching LeapZen today. Thank you. We've been in pilot for 2 months. We got close to around 130 employers, around 300 odd job postings. We have 30,000 applicants and 8,000 recorded interviews. I'm not going to show you how it works. We have a stall here. You're all welcome. But I'm going to share a few things. First thing, what we have is, I mean, you're on entrepreneurship startups, so you know what I mean by a minimum viable product. So this is our first run through the cycle, the build, measure, learn cycle. So this is not the end, this is just the beginning. So this is our first take through automated sourcing, screening, and scheduling. All feedback welcome. We are lazy. More than that, we are dumb. So we expect people to let us know where we miss things. And we have an August Fest offer. Anybody who signs up in the next couple days, pick a referral source as August 1st, and for 1 year, the service is free. Doesn't matter how many job openings you have, how many applicants, whatever you have, all the features, even if you add any premium features going forward, it will be all free for you guys. So I request you guys to be lazy and be dumb.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharat.